Okay. Sister Yoel, please unmute your video. If you're ready. If you're not ready, then you will have to sign off. Anyway, I welcome everyone, and I thank you all for being here again. We've been through some tough time. In terms of last week, it has been very, very busy with the writing of the paper 2 weeks ago, and then doing the presentation this past week, sitting there for hours. What is it like? First time was like 6 hours, second time was like 4 hours or so. But it was a unique experience in that we learned a lot. And that is wonderful. We learned a lot of those things. Now, let's open to 2 Corinthians chapter 4. 2 Corinthians 4. I read from verse 7 all the way to verse 16. The school of wisdom is to open our eyes to certain truths. Not only that, but it's also because you've shown commitment. And so the eternal opens our eyes to learn some things. It gives us a deeper understanding. Thank God for his grace in the life of our spiritual parents. I stand under that grace to proclaim these words of truth to us. It says, but we have this treasure in jars of clay to show that this all-surpassing power is from God and not from us. We are hard-pressed on every side, but not crushed, perplexed, but not in despair, persecuted, but not abandoned, struck down, but not destroyed. What are you seeing there? You're seeing life that is indestructible, with darkness that is there to cause the light to shine. You're seeing that? So struck down but not destroyed. Verse 10 says, we always carry around in our body the death of Jesus, so that the life of Jesus may also be revealed in our body. For we who are alive are always being given over to death for Jesus' sake. Just bear with me a second here. Sister Rachel, you're on the wrong one. You're on the wrong channel, Sister Rachel.
I don't have the invite on my email. It's not there.
It is there. It was sent. Check your spam. I just checked it. St. Jonas, we don't connect now. We connect in the next 20 minutes. Jonas, so you can call back. You can connect back in 20 minutes. Okay, just bear with me a second here. I always have this problem. Okay, hold on. Okay. All right. There? All right, there we go. Sister Rachel. Sister Rachel, I have sent it to you. So check your email. All right. Pardon the interruption. Okay. Verse 11 says, for we who are alive are always being given over to death for Jesus' sake, so that his life may also be revealed in our mortal body. So then, death is at work in us, but life is at work in you. It is written, I believe, therefore I have spoken. Since we have that same spirit of faith, we also believe and therefore speak. Because we know that the one who raised the Lord Jesus from the dead will also raise us up with Jesus and present us with you to himself. Now, Paul is speaking to people who are waiting for the parousia, so that doesn't apply to us. We are the reality of that now. All this is for your benefit, so that the grace that is reaching more and more people may cause thanksgiving to overflow to the glory of God. Therefore, we do not lose heart. Though outwardly we are wasting away, yet inwardly we are being renewed day by day. For our light and momentary troubles are achieving for us an external and eternal glory that far outweighs them all. So we fix our eyes not on what is seen, but on that which is not seen. For that which is seen is temporary, but that which is unseen is eternal. Most times the Holy Spirit will give, let me say that. Most times we get the eternal will give us a verse or a passage in the Word just to open our eyes. But the word that will be coming from that may be a little different. What I want to ask us is, have you ever wondered why sometimes you know that there's some things you're not supposed to think about, and yet your mind is focused on them, and it makes you sad, makes you depressed, makes you angry? You know that you're not supposed to focus your mind on that, but yet you can't help yourself. Hello? Have you ever wondered why? Well, you know truth, but yet you focus on something else that seems without any effort. Let you ponder on that for a minute. There's a truth. Now, most of you here, almost all of us, besides Nadesh, all of us, we just came from doing the defense of the School of Ministry. And every single one of us, every single one, no exception, was not impressed with their performance. Hello? Every single one. And yet, you knew that you were not supposed to worry about it, but you did. After your performance, when you went to sleep, you pondered about it. You were thinking, why that, or how come I didn't say that? Or I could have said this. And then you were more worried about how the audience perceived you. If it were you alone in front of our Father with no audience, you would not have any problem. Even if you didn't perform well, it wouldn't bother you. But because the audience was there, that occupied your mind. Before the presentation, in the leadership session, the Spirit spoke to us and said, don't worry about it. We went to the presentation, we did what we had to do. And after that, we kept worrying about it. And not all of that, you probably began to speak some words that you were not supposed to speak to yourself. Maybe you didn't vocalize it, but you said it inside your heart. Why? Because there is always this tendency to want to protect your personality. there is always this tendency to not want to look bad in front of people. Man always has that tendency to protect self, to not allow self to be humiliated or disgraced. And so man always wants to look the best, perform the best in the eyes of man. And man gets worried what man thinks about man. What are they thinking about me? What may they be saying? What may they be? Possibly the way I presented. They probably look at me now as somebody who, all the noise that we make, yet we don't even know anything. These are points for you to ponder. But why? Why must we focus on that? It wasn't meant to be that way. Whatever you do is part of the great grand plan. There was no error. None whatsoever. Whatever happened exactly as it was supposed to happen. You must understand that. And if you go back to the time when you began growing up till now, there are some moments, I've said this before, but I want to go deeper, where when you think back, you regret some of the decisions you made. You get angry at some of the things that happened to you, or some things that people did to you or said to you while growing up. You get really angry. And other times, you just look at your entire life growing up and you saw some of the things that you did. And you may even berate yourself for thinking that it was those errors you made that are the cause of what you're going through today. Or the cause of why you're not as successful as you had hoped you would. Hello. Now, you must understand this. One, this is the time when a deeper understanding is being unleashed on the body based on the revelation that we are receiving. The great grand design or the grand plan of the eternal is always on track and never derailed. Your errors are part of that plan. Your mistakes are part of that plan. Why is it easy to ponder on things that get you upset? Why is it easy to focus on the things that make you easily angry and depressed? To pay much attention to the errors. And yet you're being told those things don't define you. They don't define you in any which way. Don't worry about them. But yet you can't seem to let go. Why? Why are we so, I don't want to use the word man. I'm coming there because one of us asked a question, which I have to answer before I close. Why are we so so focused on how we are perceived? Why? Do you realize that even this School of Ministry that we just completed, the way it was designed, the finance has never been done that way? And this is because there is something different that the Eternal is bringing out of us. And that is for you to know that it is not the words that define you. I'll say that we shake our head, that's true. But as we face situations, we focus on the words. We get angry, we get bitter. But it's not the word that defines us. It is not the words. And this is it. You must understand. When it says that we go through all these situations, you struggle with self, because all of those things are talking about self. We struggle with all those things. Why? It is because the light must come out. The real thing must come out, which is life. And life will not come out because it comes to a point where you get so angry and so bitter. After that, what else? You just give it up, and then you focus on what it is, because you realize that after doing all of that anger or regrets and talking down on yourself, nothing changes. Nothing whatsoever changes. Nothing. Sometimes you get emotional and feel sorrowful or self-pity, but it changes nothing. And the truth is, those thoughts that stay in your mind, which is we call it mindfulness, you're giving mindfulness to those memories. What happens is that it attracts and permeates the environment around you. A sad man can never attract a happy environment. Never. We have heard of energy, the energy body. Once your mindfulness, the things that go through your mind, as you begin to think and ponder over them, that is the energy level you radiate, because it affects your perception, which is the flesh, and it also affects how you relate to people and how you talk. And that's what radiates around you, and it attracts only that. You cannot be sad and expect to have a happy environment. It's a lie.
True.
Wouldn't happen. No matter how sad you are, no matter how much you try to fake it, it wouldn't happen. You will attract. Even if you try to put a smile on your face, the sadness can never go away because it shows in your face, no matter how much you try to smile. Your eyes give it away. And that's what attracts, because the energy now, it attracts the environment around you. Somebody who is sensitive in discernment, as soon as he steps in that environment, knows. No matter how much you try to smile, the person knows. The aura that it gives is there. That aura stays there. It just hovers around you. Finally, when it comes to the things of God, you cannot pretend in spirit, because that's who you are, and spirit is one. So you cannot pretend. Any pretense only ends up coming back at you. For example, you see, if, for example, I get bored, maybe I don't want to come for service, and somebody calls you and says, no, come, and convince you to come. You're coming, you may come and encounter something, which is good, but you came in pretense. You didn't want to come. That was the truth. You didn't want to come. And it doesn't make sense to force you to come. It's not going to cost you anything to lose. It's not going to make you lose anything for not coming. But come for service. This is not only to our platform, just generally. Come for service, not when you feel like, but come for service with an understanding that I have to go for service, because I am being fed the truth of who I am. Because this is the only place you are taught who you are. Every other place that you go to, that is a place of studies or whatever, you will never be taught who you are. You are only taught of what? The externals.
Amen.
This is the only place you are given instructions on who you are. So you must know that. And so, a divine counsel is, don't pretend. Just be who you are. That's one. Number two, don't try to impress a spiritual authority. That tendency is always on all of us. I've been there myself. You're talking to a spiritual authority, and you find yourself trying to impress. You want to try to impress the person. Maybe say something nice or make a promise or something. I've done that myself. Don't try to impress. Just be you. Just be you. Because when you try to impress, it ends up looking funny. That's true. Especially if the spiritual authority is always spiritually sense. I mean, can discern spiritually, he sees or knows. Not that there's anything wrong with trying to impress. There's nothing wrong with that, but it is not really good to do that. Makes you look goofy, or it just comes off pretentious. And most time when you try to do it, after you finish doing it, you will not really feel good on the inside. Hello. Just be you. It is better to just be you and be berated for that than trying to be who you are not. Because you're just dragging you're just dragging something that is not you. Eventually you have to expend a lot to maintain that. So just be you. Just be you. And lastly, well, freedom. Freedom is what came to me. Freedom is the most difficult thing to maintain and to handle. Somebody who is under control, it's under control. And you are working under that control. But when you are free, it has more responsibility. You know that? Freedom has more responsibility. Mm-hmm. Freedom has more responsibility. There is no, because you have to manage your freedom. And lastly, Centura may ask a question about, during the School of Ministry, about man does not exist. That's true. Humanity does not exist. So how do we communicate now in our day-to-day language to reflect this? When Christ died, man died, humanity died. Upon resurrection, man didn't come out, humanity did not come out. It was one that came out, Christ. Christ, the new creation. So we address man as Christ. Hello. We address man as Christ.
Amen.
One. Christ. Christ. It's another thing that was revealed in me, and I will say that in the main service. But we address all as Christ. That's all, Christ. Because we must begin to progress as the revelation and understanding is coming. We must begin to progress into seeing and speaking accurately. Because we must remove every form of dualism. Every form. Remove it. Every form in our language. Amen? We'll end there. The rest we'll see in the main service. Father, thank you for this wonderful session. The ministers of today, Lord, as they minister today, they minister as you, in you. Not for you, not with you, but they minister as you, in you. Thank you for your grace. Thank you for divine grace. Thank you for divine grace. Thank you for understanding. Amen. Abba, Father. Let's connect. Please bring your communion. Just came to me of your communion. So bring your communion for connection for main service. All right? We'll have communion in main service.
Apostle, connecting immediately.
The next 10 after the hour. It's 5 after the hour.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.